This is KGW News at noon.
This morning looked a little different for Oregon and Washington students. Many of them went to class without wearing a mask. Hello everyone, I'm Brenda Braxton. Both states ended their mandates on Friday night, making masks optional indoors. Oregon health officials say now's the time to do this, since more people have immunity to COVID and vaccines are plentiful. But last week, about 24 students walked out of class in protest, saying they're just not comfortable yet.
I see my grandma every week, but she's not super immunocompromised. It's just in general, you know, I have friends who live with their grandparents.
I feel very strongly that there are some people in our community that are going to be pretty heavily impacted by lifting the mask mandate.
Anyone still wanting to wear a mask in school is encouraged to do so. However, dropping the indoor mandate, this is not universal. Everyone must still wear a mask on public transportation and in healthcare settings. Northwest restaurants say more customers are coming back now that these restrictions have eased. For instance, at beaches in Vancouver, most customers and employees chose not to wear a mask. To celebrate that change, look at this. Staff handed guests leis instead of masks.
Everybody's excited. For the first time in almost 2 years, we don't have to wear masks today. And so it's been a long time coming where we get to just see our guests, they get to see us, and everybody's excited about that.
Individual restaurants can decide whether to require masks inside, and two here in Portland, Gato Gato and Oma's Hideaway, both posted they're keeping their masking and vaccination policies in place. Well, here are three things to know today about the war in Ukraine. Number one, President Zelensky will address Congress on Wednesday, and he'll do that virtually. He's asking the U.S. to do more to stop Russia's invasion. He made the same plea to Britain's House of Commons last week and is addressing the Canadian Parliament tomorrow. Number two, award-winning journalist Brent Renaud was killed during heavy fighting about an hour outside Kyiv. His colleague who was injured says they were shot by Russian soldiers even after identifying themselves as members of the press. And number three, U.S. officials say Russia has asked China for military and economic support. The White House National Security Advisor is sending a warning to China, saying the U.S. will not allow that to happen. The U.S. and China are scheduled to discuss the conflict during a meeting tomorrow in Rome. Well, as the fighting rages, millions of civilians are fleeing Ukraine. Just this weekend, almost 200,000 refugees went to Poland. Jay Gray is at a train station there where refugees are trying to figure out what to do next.
Hey there, we continue to see refugees pouring into Poland, coming in waves at this point. We're in the Przemyśl train station, and you can see people getting here and trying to figure out exactly where they're going to go. That's becoming much more difficult. Over the weekend, mayors in both Warsaw and Krakow, the two largest cities in this country, have said that they have been pushed to their limits as far as taking care of those who want to stay long term, and so they're looking for other solutions to all of this. It's a tough go because you understand many of these families have left a loved one behind to fight, and so they'd like to stay as close to the border as possible in case they need to get back in case they have the chance to go home, or some feel like they just won't get the same information if they get too far away. And again, you understand that. The problem is there's just physically nowhere for them to stay. And so dealing with that is going to continue to be a very difficult and growing problem because you've got another round of refugees that are on the way to the border. We do know over the weekend that in Warsaw they added 17 new outbound trains, 9 of those going to Berlin, the other 8 going to the Czech Republic. So they're trying to disperse as many people as possible. And again, that's just going to be something that continues to change and move as this situation remains flexible as well. That's the latest from here along the Poland-Ukraine border. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
Back here at home today in Portland, as gun violence rises, More police officers are assisting victims even before medical help arrives on scene. Catherine Cook talked to two officers who saved someone's life.
All we knew for certain was that somebody had been shot.
Portland police officers Justin Raphael and Tyler Wyatt.
So we don't know at this point if the shooter's still there.
Are used to walking into the unknown. But on the night of March 8th, just one thing was certain.
It is clear that he is in grave condition. He's going in and out of consciousness.
A young man lay dying in a pool of his own blood, a bullet in his thigh through his femoral artery.
That is a grave wound that will kill you within a matter of minutes if untreated.
It happened on Southeast 92nd near Powell Boulevard. There had been gunshots and calls to 911. When the officers got there, about a dozen people yelled for help and motioned them over to the victim. He was lying outside an apartment doorway with a gun on the ground nearby.
We did not know where the shooter was, but we have to make a decision to sacrifice kind of our own safety in those moments and go into this scene to begin to save a life.
The officers drew on their police bureau medical training. They all carry these individual first aid kits. Officer Wyatt reached for the hemostatic gauze designed to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I carry this on my belt with a couple.
While Officer Wyatt packed the wound, Officer Raphael applied a tourniquet.
At one point, he just asked if I'd hold his hand, which was a pretty intense moment. And I did. I held his hand and I just told him, hey, keep squeezing my hand, stay with me.
He held the man's hand, even as medics loaded him into the ambulance minutes later. Minutes the officer's first aid bought them.
I think that gets lost on a lot of people that sometimes as officers, we're the first component of that emergency aid.
Police say last year, 388 people in Portland were injured by gunfire. 90 of them died. This year, already 66 people have been hurt by gun violence, including the man these officers helped save. They haven't heard from him since, but they hope he hears this.
I'm glad you're still with us. I would do it again, and I'm happy you're here.
Officers have not made any arrests in this case. It's still an open investigation. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Portland Police Bureau. In Southeast Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
In Washington, state leaders are getting some more money to protect native fish in the Columbia River. $892,000 will go to the Department of Fish and Wildlife to remove sea lions from the river and its tributaries, the Columbia we're talking about. The funds are part of a massive $64 billion budget passed by Congress. Okay, take a look at this. It happened along I-5 just north of Wilsonville. Kind of a mini stampede stopped traffic after a semi with cattle inside flipped over. This was a bad accident because not all the animals made it. Police say the truck driver was not hurt and the freeway near exit 286 is back open this noon. Rod joins us now, and you are forecasting increasing rain a little later on.
We are. You know, so far it hasn't been that bad to be out running about, getting some things done. The clouds continue to be solid and flow inland, but there is heavier rain and more of a widespread steady rain lurking offshore. That will come in either late afternoon or early this evening. Right now we have rain that's returned to Salem, just some light shower activity around the Rose City. Here's our live Uquinna Bay. One boat going out to sea, it looks like, or perhaps coming into the harbor. 54 is the temperature there. Similar looking sky over downtown Portland. Not much wind. Look how glassy and quiet the Willamette is, southeast at 8. We're at 52. I don't think we're going to warm up much more for the remainder of today. Light showers probably at least through 3 or 4 will be around. And after that, we'll start to see the rain slowly increase. I have rain coming down at a pretty good clip at 8 p.m. tonight. Temperature at that time, 49 degrees. The front coming in tonight is the first of a couple that come this week. We'll have that 7 days straight ahead.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Rod.